to my personal favorite superstar, and that is Bayley. It's not a recent rumor going around that when in an interview she was talking about how she's been frustrated over the past couple of years with the way she's been booked and just the way her character's been handled in terms of the booking in general. I mean, right now she's currently involved in like the Women's Intercontinental Championship picture, but I believe that now Naomi is champion, there's a possibility of Bayley going after the title, even though there's more likely it's going to be Rhea Ripley or Io Sky again. But I would love to see Naomi versus Bayley at WWE SummerSlam for the Women's World Heavyweight Championship would be a perfect time because one, Bayley is the main eventer. Bayley is the main eventer, and the Raw Women's title picture in terms of like heels. Now that Naomi is the heel champion, they have a ton of baby faces that can go after Naomi, but they need more heels. I'm not even gonna lie to that. They have Becky, but Becky's currently Intercontinental champion right now. But that's not too simple a point. My personal problem is the same thing that I have with Io Sky in my previous video. Bayley just doesn't seem to be booked well, and this is different from Io Sky because it seems like a lot of people find Bayley boring when they realize that Bayley is one of the locker room leaders, and a lot of the women that are in the locker room look up to Bayley. And it's not simple to the point, just like, oh, she's been there for a while. When the whole the people that were released a couple months ago, Bayley took them out to dinner. Who would have done that? Bayley is literally one of the best superstars that WWE has on their women's roster, but they just don't treat her well. And yes, they just gave her a title match against Becky, but that was a storyline that led from WrestleMania. And even then, when at WrestleMania, you had her be attacked just to put Becky Lynch in the match, just to set up Becky versus Lyra, which ended up being a fantastic match at Backlash. But still, Bayley did not deserve to get taken out of a chance to compete at WWE's biggest show of the year, WrestleMania, for Becky Lynch, someone that is she's almost on the same level as Becky Lynch. Even I consider Bayley to be better than Becky. That is a hot take. I don't care about any what you guys say. Bayley, to me, is just better than Becky. Bayley is better than Becky. But it's just simple factors that I've watched Bayley since she's come onto the main roster. She's been on the main roster for almost 9 years now. When she was a hugger, when she was Raw Women's Champion, they couldn't book her. When she was SmackDown Women's Champion, she was the longest reigning SmackDown Women's Champion, and they had her get embarrassed at WrestleMania by the Bella Twins after she came back after, her injury. Like she was hosting, she was a part of WrestleMania, she was doing her Ding Dong Sullivan segment, and they had her get humiliated by Nikki Bella and the Bella Twins, which just didn't make any sense. And it kind of just made it simple to a point where they were trying to then they started building Bayley back up, started giving her momentum, had her win the Royal Rumble, had her win the WWE Women's title last year at WrestleMania. But what did they do with that title reign? They basically did nothing when it came to that. They had a couple of defenses. I believe she had 1 or 2 defenses up until SummerSlam. And then when SummerSlam came, Nia Jax, who was in the perfect position to be champion, they put the title on Nia Jax, and ever since then, Bayley hasn't really been champion. And I want to see Bayley do well because obviously she is my favorite women's superstar. She is my favorite superstar in terms of the whole WWE right now because my favorite superstar in general is Jeff Hardy, and Jeff Hardy is not a part of WWE. So my favorite superstar in the WWE is Bayley. And you guys gotta understand, I see people commenting on oh, Bayley's just boring, Bayley's just this, and it's time for Bayley to be a heel. Bayley is a better face than she is a heel. And I love Bayley as a heel. To be honest, Bayley can do both roles. Bayley would be good as an in-betweener, to be honest, but right now, she's better suited as a face because right now, if we look at the WWE champions, the SmackDown United States champion, the WWE Women's United States champion is a heel. The WWE Women's World Heavyweight Champion is a heel. The WWE Women's Intercontinental Champion is a heel. The only one that's a babyface is Tiffany Stratton. And Tiffany Stratton versus Bayley, we've already really seen that. So in terms of where she's best fit right now, she's best fit to be on Raw because the 2 major champions are heels. And I talked about this in my Io video. I would love to see Bayley go after the WWE Women's World Heavyweight Championship. One simple reason why, if somebody other than Rhea Ripley or Io Sky. And even Bianca Belair has her own thing going on with Naomi, so I guess they could set up Bianca versus Naomi for the Women's World Heavyweight Championship. But I would just love to see for Bayley, even if it's for a short period of time, Just Bayley get another shot at being a world champion again. Keep in mind, it's almost a year to the day that Bayley has been a world champion. I know that could be like WWE can be rushing. People may think that's a lot quick to put Bayley back in the title picture. But we see what WWE does with Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. They give them title opportunities. Same thing with Becky Lynch. Why can't they do that with Bayley? Quite literally, I don't really understand why they can't do that with Bayley. And the thing is, if I want a Bayley to be a champion right now, it's better suited for Bayley to be the WWE Women's Intercontinental Champion or mid-card title champion. One reason why, Bayley has enough experience and Bayley has enough prestige to raise that title up. Obviously, Becky right now is the current WWE Intercontinental Champion, so that's not really going to happen. So if Bayley's done with Intercontinental Championship picture, and you're planning on doing Becky versus Lyra, with Lyra beating Becky at SummerSlam, move Bayley up to the main roster, to the main event scene in the WWE Women's scene. Like Bayley, there's so many good wrestlers that WWE have on that Raw roster. Bayley, Kairi Sane, Asuka, Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, now Naomi, because Naomi's going to have to move over to SmackDown, move over to Raw. It's just a whole bunch of women. You have a lot of opportunities there. And you have a fresh title picture that you can do for SummerSlam. Bayley versus Naomi. When's the last time we've seen Bayley and Naomi face off for a championship? I don't think we've ever seen that in the WWE. So the WWE really wanted to do this. And I know it's only going to be like a 2 to 3 week build when it comes to this. Book Bayley versus Naomi as Naomi's first title defense. Because even if Bayley doesn't win, Bayley will be able to put on a very good match against Naomi because they have very great chemistry. Let's not forget, they were tag team partners last year, so you already have history when it comes to that. You could be like, hey, Naomi, we used to be friends last year, but then you attacked Jade Cargill. I didn't really expect you to do that. I thought we were friends. And you can have Naomi be like, nah, I never really cared about you. I just treated you like the way I treated Jade Cargill. You were just basically trash. That would be a very good storyline when it comes to this. But besides that, my simple point is Bayley's basically the same as Io Sky point. It's just that I want to see Bayley get booked better. Like, there's a lot of women superstars that deserve to be booked better. And I can't even lie, even with a year and a half left on the contract from what I saw in the Chris Van Vliet interview that she did, Bayley didn't look happy, and I wouldn't be possible to think that Bayley's thinking about possibly leaving the WWE. Now, do I think it's likely? No, it's possible because her best friend Mercedes Moné is in AEW right now. But I really think that Bayley will be a WWE superstar for life because I believe that she truly believes in this company, and I believe that she believes in this women's division, wants to continue building it up. And when Bayley's future, Bayley's eventually retired, I can see that Bayley becoming like a coach, becoming a producer. Because, like I said, Bayley is a locker room leader. She's one of the best superstars that WWE's had in that women's roster. And I just feel like she's underappreciated and she's undervalued. Because when it comes to the women's horsemen, Bayley's looked at as the fourth best women's horseman. Because you have Charlotte, Becky, and Sasha, and even people were treating Sasha better than Bayley was when they were in the WWE. So in terms of that simple standpoint, Bayley just needs to be booked better overall, and she just needs to be treated better by the WWE.